So I marked 92 as my official starting year. And my first big gig, I came out the gate real strong. I opened up for Ice Cube and the Lench Mob, Del the Funky Homosapien, WC and the Mad Circle. Who else was? And Yo-Yo. Yo-Yo actually didn't make it to the show. That was my like, boom, here you are. See what you can do with this.
Did you hear what the guy just said? Almost like, I mean, he tried to get away casually. It's just too much, man. Yo, first of all, I love all the names you mentioned. And that is like some fucking golden eras for a lot of these people that you mentioned.
It was crazy.
And you were the guy that like did the opening DJ set? Because I saw Wu-Tang recently. And they had like a DJ who came through and did like a fucking bless-ass set for an hour. And it was a much better time than what the sound engineers did to Wu-Tang. It wasn't Wu-Tang's fault. It is what it is.
Yeah.
So what I'm understanding is, in that kind of a context, you're the dude that's opened up.
I was the dude. Yeah.
Bro, that is amazing. People need to know this.
It was at the Rialto Theater, man, and it was in February 1992. I remember it so clearly, and it's like, not only like I was the opening guy, but the way it was done then, shit was more casual. Like you got away with a lot more of the hip hop. It wasn't so regimented with the tour managers get involved in and everything. So like I literally was on stage for the whole show, offside to the stage, and I played in between every act. Whereas now it's like you're a warm up guy. Once your time is done, the show starts. You go away. It's this start time. But I was the one playing in between the acts.
Okay, so literally you would be there. So you're on stage with these guys.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
and I remember WC in the Mad Circle. At this point in time, WC in the Mad Circle is not really super known. Like, you know of them, but they didn't. This is pre Gangster's Paradise and all the shit that Coolio did after. So I just remember like they would come in real casual. They're always smoking, and they were doing their sound
smoke back then
inside. Now, wouldn't you trade that? Wouldn't you like to go back to that time?
Dude, I turned 18 the year it became illegal. I never. Oh. So imagine that. Imagine the literally 17 people can smoke in bars. I'm a goodie. I'm not doing this shit. I turned 18. I'm in the West Island. All the bars in the West Island close.
Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, this is crazy to hear about. Because again, I don't get those moments.
Show, Blunts was like mandatory at a hip hop show. Like that was they went hand in hand. So here I am. I'm at the sound check now, and it's Crazy Tunes was the DJ. It was Dub C, Coolio. At this point in time, I don't really know who these guys are. I know the name, but I'm not really familiar with the music. I wasn't buying a lot of West Coast music. And I just remember Coolio just freestyling and twisting his hair. That's pretty much what I remember the most about that. And like Crazy Tunes was real nice on the cuts when he was warming up. But the best part of that show, so the show was crazy. So Del the Funky Homosapien, this is the Mr. Bobalina, Dobalina era. I played that record before Del went on stage.
Hold up,
being a rookie.
Is that a party foul?
Being a rookie, I found out that night, but that's how I learned that lesson. The manager lost his shit. I don't know how they didn't throw me out. They were outraged. They shut everything down, and I was hearing it like crazy. But they managed to let me still continue and do my thing regardless of that. But that was a lesson I learned. It's like, okay, anytime you're DJing a show, never play any of the artists that are on the show. None of their music, especially the hits. But that was me being a kid and not a teenager. Not, I didn't pick up on it. I just got carried away. I was like, oh man, the crowd is so hype. And I just dropped it, not realizing, no, you don't do that. It's not cool. So I learned a lesson with that. But that night ended very well. This, like I said, hip hop was not the glamour, multi-million business that it is now, or multi-billion, I should say. End of the night comes now. Black Sheep was there as well.
Wow.
Ice Cube's Lench Mob has no transportation. So a bus has come for Ice Cube. WC has been picked up. Black Sheep's been left behind. The Lench Mob's been left behind. And we're like, yo, this is how casual shit was back then. So me and my dude, he had a van that brought my stuff there. We're like, yo, we'll take you guys to the hotel. Hop in the ride. We're driving around Montreal with the Lench Mob and Drez from Black Sheep. They're smoking down the van. And we're like, like 17, 18 years old. And this is like, it was insane. That's how casual shit was. So we're in the car now. So these guys are like, they're smoking down the van like crazy. Because that's one thing. They always respected Montreal weed. When rappers came up here, one of the first thing those rappers wanted, they wanted the Montreal weed. News traveled very quickly on the quality of Montreal weed. That's one thing I could tell you that was consistent backstage. They always wanted Montreal weed. That was mandatory before they performed.
That's amazing.
So they're smoking in the van, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, holy, like, this is the Lench Mob. This is Drez, like, after engine number 9 days. Like, I'm blown away, but we got to play it cool, right? Like, okay. And so we're driving now. We wanted to go to an after party. We were going to go to Checkers, but then we got there, like, it was too crazy. And I guess, like, the security didn't want to be responsible for having them guys in the club and whatnot. So it was like, they didn't really care. So we continued going on to bring them to the hotel. The whole ride now, my buddy's bumping one of my mixtapes because I was always making mixes. But back then, it wasn't a mixtape game. I made one copy. I put it in my friend's car, and we would drive around wherever we go, and that was our soundtrack. So Lench Mob's like, yo, that's dope, man. I want that cassette. And in my mind, I'm like, that's my masterpiece. I only have one copy. And my buddy's like, what are you doing, man? Like, the guy's like, yo, gave me $20 US. I was like, here, you can have that. Take that. Go ahead, you can have that. I'll make another one. But I didn't even want to part with that cassette. But he was like, yo, man, that cassette's dope, man. I want it. And my natural reaction back then was like, I didn't have a copy. I wanted my mixtape. I was not giving it away regardless. But dude gave me $20 US. I was like, all right, man, you can have that. And my buddy's like, dude, that's the Lench Mob. Your mixtape is going to California right now. Like, your music's going to LA.
My dude, that's amazing. Define your mixtape. Let's pretend that, like, again, there are always going to be people here that might just hear that nomenclature and it just goes over their head what that really means. What is a down smooth mixtape? What is on this mixtape that fucking went to California with the Lench Mob?
Oh, man, it would probably be like a lot of Brad Nubian, I would say at that time. Maybe like Jungle Brothers vibes. It was on some De La Soul type shit. It was like, we're talking 92, right? So it's right before the Nas and the Biggies. So very, very East Coast. I always played a lot of East Coast stuff, but it was all hip hop stuff.
Fair enough.
You would get the Souls of Mischief and different things of that nature. Like, I was heavily into stuff like that.
That's a pretty eclectic mix though, right? Because at that time, as I understand it, it's not as simple to like get stuff from all over. Yes, a lot of the stuff was popping, but you got like some underground fucking West Coast shit with that Souls of Mischief. Like, I know it's hot now, but like that wasn't like the biggest shit as I understand it, right?
No.
So
and Cap Low.
But
I loved Cap Low.
But you also had that next to the fucking De La Soul.
Yeah.
That's New York. That's a whole different, or Jersey. They might be Jersey. I might be wrong. That part of the world.
They're still considered from that tri-state area.
So, do y'all hear how good that ear is so early on? I just want people to like know that is actually fucking impressive, especially in a pre-fucking YouTube era, my guy. Like, that is worth noting about. I'm duly impressed. Duly impressed.